Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome back to the World Tapping Circle. I am honored to be your guide, your host. You are here with me, Sonya Sophia, and Magnus, and I'm broadcasting live from Austin, Texas. Want to give a shout out to all the new people in Circle this week. We just did some huge, big, global scale project called 10,000 Tapping. If you haven't caught it yet, you will find it if you just Google 10,000 tapping, you're going to find it. And all the videos we did for 7 straight days of broadcasting are there for people to use for free. So if you have friends or family who you know need extra love and help, or stressed out, worried, need to come back into alignment with love and their own truth and their own beauty, their own power, that video library will always be there for you to share with them and help them have the same kind of experience that you're getting by being a full-fledged member of the Tapping Circle. I'm going to say hi to whoever's saying hi to me right now in the chat. If you're new here, let us know if this is your first time so we can keep a good eye on you. And as you log in, let us know where you are logging in from, because that's very exciting to me because I'm still astounded by technology. Let's see, scrolling, I see Tina from Jilly Air, wherever that is, Tina H. Hi from to Reno, where Kim is. Hi to Diane R, Gregory V. Super fan, Gregory, I have to say, I love what you've been posting lately. Diane in Bellingham, Washington. Martine in Quebec, she's also here every week. Shelley in New Brunswick, I see you here a lot as well. People still piling in and giving us their welcomes. Diane R says, yes, joined after day 7. Well, I am so glad that you've gotten a really good taste of what we do in here. And as I said in the 10,000 tapping, our goal is to build out our circle to that size so that we can keep pulsing the field. We don't need to do that as an annual activity. We need to do that as a daily activity, really, and hold this field and move this movement of people becoming solid and clear and strong and internally guided, connected with their feelings, connected with their hearts, connected with their own internal genius and creativity. So we're going to keep moving things forward, and I'm really happy that you have signed up to join us. Welcome, Candy. I see you're new also from West Virginia. Susan and Camano Camano Island, Washington. Wow, so many beautiful people here. Great, Mount Vernon, Washington, from Jonna. Rydia, Ridge Creek, Virginia, just moved here today from Austin, Texas. Aw, well, we're sending you some Texas love. All right, well, today's theme is creating and catalyzing. So it's kind of picking back up where we left off in 10,000 tapping. Our final session was around divine purpose. And I want you to know that sometimes one session on one topic isn't enough to just completely transform your life. It may just poosh, take you right there. It's also possible that you need to get down and scrub that part of your nervous system for a while with your own empathy and love and attention. We all process at different rates. So some people have 1 minute wonder wax and others, it might take a few months, maybe even longer. Just depends on how you store and how you process. But I can tell you, after 15 years of doing this practice, that hands down, it has helped me more than all the practices that I've done, and I've done a lot. And I do recommend meditation. I do recommend ecstatic dance. I do recommend that you go into these, beautiful practices with yourself. You learn how to move energy in your body, and you learn how to understand and respect yourself. And that's what this circle is really doing. It's helping you understand yourself and honor yourself. And in this case, we're going to be honoring this creativity that's bubbling up inside you. It may be a new creative way that you're going to organize your life. It might be a new creative way that you want to put your work out into the world. It might be a new creative way of presenting yourself to the world. Creative doesn't necessarily have to be in the arts realm, although it very well could be. You know, people can become really creative in the way they design things, and also in the way they, structure things. So you don't have to be a super right-brained person to use this, but we are going to create and catalyze change within ourselves. And why is that important? Because what we do for us, we actually are doing for many. And you're the bravest person on your block right now. You're sitting here tapping with me saying, okay, I'm going to move through some limitations and fears and blocks. I'm going to open up to my true nature, and I'm going to start giving my gifts, giving my presence, giving my heart, giving my attention, giving my will in alignment with who I really am. Whew, that's a lot of saying here at the beginning, but I'm very excited about this world that we're recreating. And in these dark times, it really calls us forward to say, okay, well, we can protest the things we don't like all day long, but what about we just get busy with building what we do want and enlisting people to help support those dreams and rebuild our society and rebuild our culture from the inside out. And as you've heard me say before, people make the planet. So why is it important that you're clearing and changing? Because what you do emanates out in the way you speak, what you're doing physically with your time, but also how you carry yourself and what we allow. So if I'm done allowing abuse, either self-abuse or abuse from others or abuse from a government, if I'm done with that in myself, I'm creating a wave of change where we're saying, hey, the new normal is like this. We're all change makers on that level, even if you might not think of yourself as a change maker. All right, so we're about to jump into the core causes questions, 5-minute survey. Those answers are for you to help you get down into your subconscious so that you can really listen and feel what's guiding you underneath your everyday conscious mind. Is a lot of things that you learned in the past, things that you saw modeled to you, things that were said to you, things that were implied by the situation you were in, psychic things that were being broadcast through the walls of your parents' bedrooms while they were feeling the way they were feeling and trying not to talk about it, but you picked up on that vibe by watching and listening as intuitive children do. So in this 5 minutes, you're going to get down with your good self, asking yourself some penetrating questions so that you can tap and process at a much deeper level. So 5 minutes to jump into the core causes questions. I'll see you on the other side. The theme is catalyzing and creating. Okay, hopefully that was really helpful and insightful. And now we're going to go ahead and tap. So massaging the front of your chest, big deep breath. Thinking about this issue and how this topic relates to your life right now. In other words, what are you trying to get started? What are you trying to change? What are you trying to bring into this world or to create for yourself or others? Even though part of me has an issue with, and say what is going on for you, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the eyebrows. I accept the part of me, tapping the temples, that is missing. What are you missing in this equation? Are you missing knowledge? Are you missing courage? Are you missing strength? Tapping the cheeks. I accept this part of me that is missing, and say again what you think you might be missing. Tapping under the nose. I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tapping under the lips, even if I continue to feel like I don't have all the pieces that I need. And tapping the chest, just thinking again about the things that you don't have in place yet. Maybe you don't have a location, maybe you don't have the time or the money. Maybe you don't have the clarity yet. It's okay, whatever it is. We're just going to tap a little bit on that feeling of things not being quite ready or aligned or available. Tapping bottom of the rib cage. I accept the part of me that doesn't feel like I have what I need to make this happen. I'm tapping the side of the ribs. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the inside of the wrist, even if there are some parts that I don't have together yet. Tapping the side of the thumb. I accept the part of me, or I'm open to accepting the part of me that feels frustrated. Tap the index finger, tuning in, and see if you have any frustration about how things are going in this general area. Tap the middle finger. It's taking a long time. Big deep breath, tuning into that part of you that might feel frustrated around how long things are taking or how challenging things are. Tapping the bottom of the fourth finger. This is hard and it's taking forever. Big deep breath. Just honoring that part of you that might be feeling frustrated. I love and respect myself. Tap this side of the hand, even though I have these pent up feelings of, and go ahead and say how you're feeling about this issue. Maybe you feel afraid, maybe you feel angry, maybe you feel overwhelmed, maybe you feel spacey, where you have focus and then you lose your focus. Take 30 seconds and blurt it all out. How are you feeling about this? Tapping the top of your head. Keep talking. Sides of the head, back of the head. Tapping the eyebrows. I'm open to loving and respecting myself. Tapping the temples. Even if a part of me is feeling stuck, tap the cheeks. Tapping under the nose. I accept the part of me that doesn't quite believe it's possible yet. Tapping under the lips, tuning in to the part of you that thinks it might be impossible or just doesn't believe it's totally possible. Tap the chest. I have so many feelings about this. List your feelings again as you tap all over the chest and breathe. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the side of the ribs, even if there's a part of me that feels stuck. And fill in the blank. How else do you feel? Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm open to deeply and completely forgiving myself. Tap the side of the thumb. No matter how deep this fear, this discomfort goes. Tapping the index finger, tuning in. How deep does it really go? Do you feel scared, but when you tune in, you're saying, no, actually, it's terrified. Tap the middle finger. I allow myself to be honest with myself. There is a part of me that is shut down. Part of me that doesn't want to move forward yet. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. What is it that you're afraid of? So ask yourself, what is it that I'm afraid of? Tapping your little finger. Say it out loud. A part of me is afraid of, what is it? Is it attention coming your way? Is it having to learn to manage this next skill set? Tap the side of the hand. I'm open to loving and respecting myself, even though a part of me still pushing this away because secretly I'm afraid of what? Tapping the top of the head. I'm open to releasing this old fear that is keeping me from doing many things. Tapping the sides of the head and the back of the head. Tapping the eyebrows. What is it that you're afraid of doing? Tapping the temples. Say it again. I'm afraid that if I take the next step forward, tap the cheeks and say the first thing that comes to your mind. And breathe. Tapping under the nose. Where do you feel that fear in your body? And tapping under the lips. I give myself permission to release this old fear in my body. Tapping the chest. Located where? Do you feel it in the pit of your stomach? The base of your spine? Maybe you feel it in your genitals. Maybe you feel it in your legs, your hips. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm giving myself permission to process what's underneath this. So tapping the side of the ribs, we're going to go a little bit deeper now. What do you think is really underneath this? Is there a memory that really sticks out where you tried something like this before? Or you saw someone in your family deciding that they were going to go for it and change or grow, and something bad happened, or they lost their job? Tune in and see where you think this fear really comes from. And tapping the side of the ribs as you think about it. And we're going to tap the opposite wrist here, the inside of the wrist, right here on the wrist bone. I give myself permission to release that role model, that memory, that example that is still actively creating inside me. Tap the side of the thumb. Describe this thing that you're now aware of. For example, yeah, there was this time. So you've got 45 seconds to describe the memory, the event, or where you think this issue is really coming from. Keep talking, tapping the index finger and breathing. Tapping the middle finger, continue. And tapping the bottom finger. And wrapping it up with the sentence, and that's when I learned, what did you learn from that experience? Maybe that's when I learned to keep my mouth shut. Or that's when I learned not to speak up, or I learned to hide, or I learned to play dumb or run away. Tap the little finger. I'm open to loving and expressing myself. Tap the side of the hand. Even if part of me is still recovering from this time, and describe the time that we're referring to again. Tapping the top of the head. And we're just going to send some compassion back to this time in your past that is still influencing you. This time in your past when you weren't getting the support or care or protection or mentoring that you needed. Tap the eyebrows that made you feel discouraged. Tapping the temples or alone. Tapping the cheeks or somehow inadequate. Tapping under the nose. I'm giving myself permission to release this remaining information, tapping under the lips, that I picked up from who and where and when. So for example, I picked up from my dad when I was living at home, when I was 5. Tapping the chest, let's repeat that again. I'm releasing this old information from my body that I picked up from who, where, and when. Tapping the front of the ribs. It's safe for this information to be re-examined and rewritten. Tap the side of the ribs. I forgive myself for believing, and then what is this limiting belief that that experience taught you? For example, not good enough. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm open to releasing the part of my personality that started to believe, and then say this limiting belief again. And tap the side of your thumb. Even if this has been controlling my life on so many levels, tune in and see. Is this belief stopping you from doing other things as well? Tapping the index finger. I'm open to loving and trusting myself. Tapping the middle finger. Releasing this remaining stress and this limitation that told me what? What was this limiting belief telling you? Say it out loud as you breathe. Tapping the bottom of the 4th finger. I give myself permission to rewrite this belief. What would the opposite of this belief be? I give myself permission to believe that I have courage, that I'm smart enough. Tap the little finger. That somehow I'm going to figure this out. Tap the side of the hand. That this can actually become a success. Tapping the top of the head. I give myself permission to learn and grow. Tapping the sides of the head and the back of the head, to understand and to know. Tapping the eyebrows. I love and respect myself. Tapping the temples. I'm allowing myself to clear fears and feelings. Tap the cheeks that have been trapped in my body, including what? What is a fear or a feeling that you haven't mentioned yet that you know has something to do with this? Maybe you're afraid people will become envious or jealous of you. Or maybe you're afraid that you could do it once, but you can't do it again. Tapping the chest. I give myself permission to clear this and say that same thing that you just became aware of. Tapping all over the chest from everywhere. This is controlling my life. Tap the front of the ribs, including my relationships. Big deep breath. Tapping the side of the ribs, the way I present myself. Tapping the inside of the wrist, the choices I feel like I can make. Tap the side of the thumbs, including the way I work. Tap the index finger, the way I manage my time. Tapping the middle finger. I love and respect myself. I'm giving myself permission to grow so that I can bring this into my life and out into the world. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. Say again what you're creating. And say it with some conviction. Tap the little finger. For example, I would say, I'm creating 10,000 tapping on a regular basis. What are you going to say? Tap the side of the hand. I'm doing this because, what are all the good reasons that you want to bring this into the world? See if you can list 4 or 5 of them right now while you're tapping the side of your hand and breathing. Tapping the top of the head. I'm allowing myself to update this part of my personality that's still holding back. Tap the eyebrows, because this is good for me. Tapping the temples, and it will allow me to do what? What will updating this, meaning releasing these old beliefs and allowing yourself to remember the good reasons, what will this give you? Tap the cheeks. This will give me a sense of accomplishment. Tapping under the nose. This will give me a healthier body. Tapping under the lips. This will give me a happier life. Tapping the chest. This will give me a way to, what will it give you a way to do? A way to express myself, a way to increase my capacity to earn money, a way to contribute more deeply to people's lives. Tapping the front of the ribs. I'm allowing myself to release any remaining doubt and hesitation. Tapping the side of the ribs, including ways that I distract myself. Like what? What do you distract yourself doing? Do you distract yourself getting all wrapped up in other people's drama? Is it shopping? Is it eating? Tapping the inside of the wrist. I give myself permission to release this habit that is consuming my energy and time. Tap the side of the thumb, distracting me from what I really want to be doing. Tap the index finger. I love and appreciate myself. Even though I'm so used to this habit, tap the middle finger. What is it? Is it getting on the internet? Say it at the bottom of the fourth finger. Say it again. Distracting myself with tapping the little finger. I'm open to loving and appreciating myself. Tap the side of the hand. Even if I've stayed distracted forever, in a weird effort to protect myself from bringing this into my life. Tapping the top of the head. I forgive myself for doing this to myself for as long as I have been. Tapping the sides of the head and the back of the head. Tapping the eyebrows. Think about someone in your life that may have given you this example. Maybe eating is a thing for you. Maybe your mom was an emotional eater. Tap the cheeks. Was there anyone in your life that set this precedent for you? Maybe dad kept his nose buried in the paper or always at work, distracting from bringing a more intimate, creative, loving person into his relationship. Tapping the chest. I'm releasing this pattern and habit that's wasting my precious time and life force. Tapping the front of the ribs. I deeply and completely forgive myself. Or you can say, I'm open to forgiving myself someday, eventually, for all this time I've spent. And then say what your distraction is. Tapping the side of the ribs. And I forgive myself for wanting to continue that habit. Tap the inside of the wrist in an effort to stay safe, to avoid really putting my heart into this. Tap the side of the thumb. I give myself permission. Tap the index finger to put my heart into this. Tap the middle finger. What would it be like if you decided that you were really going to commit to bringing this forward? Doesn't mean you have to do it all in one day. You probably can't do it all in one day. But if you are committed on the inside, you're more likely to come back to it again and again and do all the tiny little incremental baby steps until one day you notice that you're there. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. What would it be like if I took this seriously? Tap the little finger. Big, deep breath. What if I took this goal, this passion, this change I want to create and bring seriously and put my heart into it? Tap the side of the hand. But I'm afraid to put my heart into it in case I mess up or fail. Tapping the top of the head. But I'm afraid. Say why you're afraid. Tapping the back of the head, the sides of the head. Tapping the eyebrows. I give myself permission. Tapping the temples. To heal the root of this fear. Tapping the cheeks, including what? Tapping under the nose. I give myself permission. Tapping under the lips to heal the root of this fear. Tapping the chest. No matter how far it goes, and no matter how many other parts of me would move forward with this taken out of the way, tap the front of the ribs. I give myself permission to evolve and grow and learn. Tapping the side of the ribs to gather the strength and to call in the resources. Tap the inside of the wrist. to take the next logical step and listen for the next intuitive step. So you're going to need both to bring this into reality. You're going to need your logic and reason. You're going to need to be strategic about it and really think about it. Tap the side of the thumb. And you're also going to need to act on your intuition. And to take an idea and be like, that's it. I just got it. I can feel the truth in it. Tapping the index finger. I allow myself to proceed with my logic and my intuition. Tap the middle finger. Learning to trust myself. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. It's safe to learn to trust myself. Say that 3 times. It's safe to learn to trust myself. It's safe to learn to trust myself. It's safe to learn to trust myself. Tap the little finger and breathe and make some noise. Tapping the side of the hand. I give myself permission to enjoy this creative process. Tapping the top of the head, even if it's so new and I don't know what I'm doing, or I only kind of know what I'm doing. Tap the side of the head and the back of the head. So just dropping to the chest, tapping and listening for a second. How does anyone get great at doing something? You have to start with not knowing how to do it, right? You have to start with fiddling around with it, toying with it, playing with it, trying things out, messing up, making little mistakes and experimenting. And then you figure some things out, and then you might do some more research and learn and apply that to what you've already been experimenting with, and pretty soon you're going to have something really interesting and beautiful that is actually yours because you put your heart into it, you put your time into it, you put your emotions into it, your sweat, your tears, your frustration, your joy, your excitement, and that feels good. And tap the eyebrows, here we go. I give myself permission to release this old conditioning that I'm still carrying from, and then say where you think it comes from. Tapping the cheeks and breathing, say it again. Releasing the conditioning that comes from, and see if you can be specific. You can say from my childhood, maybe that helps your body release, but maybe you need to be more specific, that came from middle school, for example, or that came from elementary school or kindergarten. Tapping the chest. I love and accept myself, even with this old conditioning, exactly as it is. Tuning into it again. Tapping the front of the ribs. It's safe for me to let it go. Tap the side of the ribs so that I can grow. And breathe. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm letting it go so that I can grow. Tap the side of the thumb. All right, we're going to pause. We're going to have a quick check-in, and then we'll do some more tapping. So if you're new to Circle, what I'd like you to do is assess where you're at now. If you're watching this on replay, you're tapping, tuning in, assessing where you are now with this issue. Meaning, how much of a trigger is still there for you? What is the emotional intensity around this? You rated that in our 5-minute core causes survey. Said this issue's a 10 or this issue's an 8. What would you give it now if you could give it a number? And it's okay for you to guess. Usually your first guess is pretty accurate. Type that into the chat if you can, if you care to share. Tap while you're feeling it, because every time you feel it, you're finding the neural network that's somewhere in your heart, somewhere in your brain, somewhere in your body that's telling you what you can and can't do. So accessing that information, even if it still feels like there's a lot to go, is actually very useful. And doing it from a loving, centered place like you are in now is very, very helpful. It releases the protein bonds that have grown these neural networks together, meaning that you are literally rewiring the circuitry of your brain so that when you ask yourself if something is possible, you can feel, yes, it is a lot more possible now. And as you know, if you can feel that it actually could happen, you're much more likely to go after it. All right, I'm going to check the chat and see where you're at. Lindsay says, it was a 9 to a 4. I feel like I can be brave. That's amazing. Jane says, went from an 8 to a 3. Samadhi says, down to a 3. Josephine says, a 9 to a 7. Everything is moving. Gregory says, this is helping me with my mother. I don't want to make the same mistakes she did. Great. This is going to help you. Shelley has gone from an 8 to a 7, gently moving down. Rosemary is half there, 8 to a 4. Kim says, I can be a safe, calm, successful speaker. Susan, a 9 to a 6. All right, we're going to move on into the home stretch, tapping the top of the head. Even though there's a part of me that is still struggling with, and then say what it is that's still there for you. So for the person who said, for Kim, a calm, successful speaker, maybe it's the knowing that you nailed it, or maybe it's seeing your message really received. But what pieces of this still feel a little foggy, a little scary, or a little out of reach? Tapping the temples and tune into that. Big deep breath. Tapping the front of the cheeks. I'm open to loving and approving of myself. Tapping under the nose, even with this piece. And then say again what piece is still there. Tapping under the lips. And what is that piece associated with? Is it associated with a time in your life that was not very good for you? Or maybe it's a strong feeling. Tapping the front of the ribs. This piece that I'm still processing. Tapping the side of the rib cage. This piece that I'm still processing. And breathing. And tapping the inside of the wrist. Associated with, and say what you think it's linked to. Tapping the side of the thumb. It's safe for my body to release this. Tap the index finger. Even though I've had it all this time, and I've built my personality around this. Tap the middle finger. What would happen if you let go of this limitation? Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I want you to imagine your life having moved past these blocks and fears. You've moved this beautiful piece into reality for yourself. What would it be like? I want you to describe for 30 seconds what your life would be like, and I want you to feel it as you're speaking. I want you to say it as if it's already happened. Well, now that I've created a global movement of people processing their pain, I've created my 10,000 tapping, I now feel Keep talking. Tap your little finger. And what does this allow you to do? This allows me tap this side of the hand. And how does this impact the world? How does this benefit other people? This gives others what? Tapping the top of the head. I love and respect myself. Tapping the sides of the head, the back of the head. Tapping the eyebrows. And I give myself permission. Tapping the temples. To bring this into reality. Tapping under the nose. To create this change. Tapping under the lips. And to enjoy this process. Tapping the chest, even if it changes everything. So tuning in again, how much of your life would change if you were allowed to have this moving? We're going to take one more swoop at processing these fears of change. Ready? Tapping the front of the ribs. It would change the way I spend my time. It would mean that I would have mastered what? What would you need to master? I would have mastered technology, or I would have mastered writing, or I would have mastered public speaking. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm releasing any remaining resistance to getting really good at. Say what it is that you know that you're going to have to learn. Tap the side of the thumb. Let's say it 4 or 5 times. We're going to turbo tap it, meaning we're going to tap quickly through these points. Ready? Getting good at, and then say the thing that you know that you're going to be updating here in this future time. Tapping the index finger, say it again. Big deep breath. Getting good at. Middle finger, say it again. Getting good at. Tapping the bottom of the 4th finger. Getting really good at. Say it again. Tapping your little finger. I'm allowing myself to easily learn and rapidly grow. Tapping the side of the hand, maturing this part of my personality that is held on to fear and feelings of defeat. Tapping the top of the head. I allow myself to feel inspired. Tapping the side of the head, the back of the head, aligned. Tapping the eyebrows. To have amazing insight into the next step. Tap the temple. Tapping the cheeks. Amazing insight and clarity. Tapping under the nose. I'm giving myself the ability to focus. Tapping under the lips in little increments, bit by bit. Tapping the chest. A few hours here and there. Maybe you're going to do it on a schedule. Maybe you're going to do it once a week. But coming back again and again. Remember, it's going to be baby stepping your way. Not trying to do it all in one big leap. Because as we baby step it, we can experiment, we can tweak it, we can adjust. It gives us more opportunity to refine. Tap the front of the ribs. I allow myself to go step by step. Tap the side of the ribs. What do you think the next step is for you? And if you don't know, you're going to tap and say, I allow myself to know what the next step is. And if you do know, you're going to say, I allow myself to go ahead and then you're going to say the next step. Tapping the inside of the wrist. One more time with a bit more enthusiasm. Ready? I allow myself to either know what the next step is or take the next step, which is what? And breathe. Tap the side of the thumb. I'm allowing myself to be flexible and forgiving with myself throughout this process. Tap the index finger, releasing my need to criticize myself, to beat myself up. Tap the middle finger, allowing myself to move myself forward naturally and spontaneously. What would that be like? Do you ever feel this big whoosh of creative impulse and suddenly you're doing something amazing and it doesn't feel hard because you're so inspired? Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. That's what it feels like when your fear is out of the way. You see, the doing isn't actually the hard part. It's the thinking about doing, the putting off doing, and the being afraid of the what ifs around the doing. Tap the little finger. I'm giving myself permission to come back to this tap again and again as I master each step along the way. Tapping the side of the hand, remembering that I can tap for a few minutes and bring myself back to center. Tapping the top of the head, keeping myself relaxed and on point. All right, y'all, let's check in. How are you feeling right now? What did you learn? So drop it into the chat if you're there live with us. Tapping on your body when you're done typing. And if you're watching on replay, you could write down what you just realized, what you've learned. And also let me know what you're committed to. Because this is an accountability circle. It's a place for you to share. It's a place for you to feel there's people who care about you. It's a place for you to also hold yourself accountable to moving yourself forward. You're not going to stay stuck too long if you're here with us tapping on whatever's in the way every week. You can't get too far off your path, right? Shadow says you're down to a 3. Stacy says, holy moly, this is good. I think that's Rosina coming in with Stacy's subscription. Gregory says, optimism, learning my next step intuitively. Lindsay said, feelings of goosebumps of possibility, committed to truly starting a process of brand creation and identity. Great. And I'll give you a hint there. If you're creating a brand, it's got to be about things that you like. As you see, my brand here, I designed this. It goes with my hair. It goes with my clothes. It goes with how I decorate my house. You don't want to be putting something out there that actually isn't authentic to you. And for all of us who are creating anything, as long as we stay true to ourselves, you're going to find other people that resonate with you, who like what you're bringing, and they like how you're bringing it. Diane says, let's see. I can practice detached compassion in baby steps. Absolutely. Stacy In says, I'm so grateful. I want to take all the next steps for New Earth Garden one step at a time. Great. Write down those steps. This is a creative moment where that gate is open for you. So I really recommend after doing these circles that you get your journal, or you go in front of your table and you rearrange your altar, little images of things that you want to create, or your vision board, whatever it is that you're doing to help keep you on focus. This is a moment when you're in your most clear state to take note and reflect that back to yourself. Sometimes it's writing Post-it notes and putting them around your house so that you remember what you're doing and where you're going. Radia says, I'm down to a 0. No, I'm down to a 5, feeling ready to heal my relationship with mom and start life over in a new place. That is beautiful. Susan says, I can allow myself to shine, down to a 3. I'm going to scroll back up and see if I missed anyone. Kim, I can be safe, a safe, calm, successful speaker. Yes, ma'am. All right, sweet beings, we're going to tap all over our bodies. I love you so much. I'm so excited that we're in this circle. I'm so excited that our circle is growing. As we go out, we're going to say, yay me, I did it. I took time for myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm doing a good job. I'm on track. I'm on point. And I'm creating the world that I want to be in. Thank you for joining me in Circle. I'm very much looking forward to our next one. See you in the circle.